Hey guys, it's Bree. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about how to get good grades in college. As I said before, my name is Bree and I'm a senior at Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. Go Ghosts! I'm a senior. I've learned through trial and error these things and I want to pass them on to you. So if you're looking for more University of Minnesota or college content, go check out my channel. The first thing that's really important to getting good grades and just having a good college experience academically is just knowing what you're there to do and knowing what you need to do in order to accomplish that. Universities usually have general requirements that all students must take, but then once you choose a major, you also have to have major requirements as well. So it is important if you don't know what you want to do to just get those general requirements done. So then once you kind of know what you want to do, you've already accomplished that. Just look at the college university requirements right off the bat so you're not just taking classes for no reason, because then you're spending money on things that just really don't matter. Even if you're learning and having a great time, it's not gonna benefit you in the future if you end up a senior year and you're like, whoa, I still have so much to get done, and you have to go on for longer. So that would suck. Let's not do that. So in order to do this, either check the websites. A lot of that isn't as condensed, but a great tool that my university has is the APAS tool. And you really just log on to it and it has a list of all the requirements and whether you've accomplished those or not. That's super helpful. Otherwise, just talk to your advisor and they can usually get you on a path that will just lead you in the right direction. Otherwise, my university also does Grad Planner, which that tool is amazing. It is amazing. It helped me plan my college career so that I could, by senior year, only have 12 required credits and that I could just do what I want to do. I feel like I didn't explain Grad Planner enough, but basically Grad Planner is a tool that you can fit classes towards each semester. So fall 2018, spring 2019, and it has all the way up to your graduation, and you can just put classes into whatever slot wherever you want, and you can see if all of your requirements are fulfilled by that, like what requirements you still need in order to graduate, but time it out across your 4, 5, 3 years. That will help you to kind of mold your college career into what you want it to be. So my freshman year, I took a lot of classes and I kind of whittled it down and made sure that I was taking good classes that worked together. So at first, when I started, I was actually pre-dental and I ended up switching at the end of my sophomore year to marketing. 2 different schools, very different requirements other than the general requirements of the University of Minnesota. So my freshman year, I took a lot of gen eds, but I was also starting to take all those science classes in a way that I only had to take a couple very difficult classes at a time, but I was also taking some fun classes, some easier classes that would lighten my load, but kind of heavy credit-wise, so that when I came upon senior year, I only had like a couple difficult classes. Thank God that I planned it out and I had to reconfigure everything once I switched majors, which, you know, you're gonna have to do. It's expected. Do what you will with that information. Okay, number 2, class schedules and professors matter. They matter a lot. If you're not an early bird, don't schedule an 8 a.m. unless you absolutely have to. Don't do that to yourself. Please don't, because you're not gonna do it. So make sure to choose times that are good for you, but also remember to schedule in eating time for lunch, travel time if you need it. That is something we always forget, is just like, we need to eat lunch. You sometimes just need a break. On a big university such as the University of Minnesota, you're gonna need time to travel because we have 3 different campuses. So we have East Bank, West Bank, and then we also have St. Paul campus. To get to St. Paul campus from East or West Bank, you have to plan that 20-minute bus ride. Also, professors matter. I don't know why some people just be taking whatever professor. They're like, this is a good time for me, whatever. Check your professors on Rate My Professor. It'll change your life. One professor might do open note tests. Another one might be a super strict grader. You're gonna have multiple essays with one big exam versus another professor who's lenient, really nice. People love that professor. Like, you're most likely to get a lower grade in this class and enjoy your time less versus this class where you would probably enjoy yourself, the professor, and your grade might not be as difficult to achieve as the one on the other side, you know? So allow yourself to succeed. Number 3, find a planner system that works for you. I know not everybody's a planner type of person, but college will make you. If you're really that motivated to get a good grade, organize. Otherwise, you're gonna be stressed as frick. You're gonna be so stressed. Oh my God, wait, I didn't know I had this due tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. Don't be that person. Just write it down. Write it down in a designated spot. I have a written planner that I use just as more of like tasks to be done each day. Like, what do I have to get done in order to be on track for this week? But then I also use Google Calendar. And if you do not use this yet, if you're a high school student or, you know, someone who's not come to college yet, or if you're like a miss college and you're like, I need to change, you need to get Google Calendar. You do, because so many organizations and the school will use Google Calendar and it'll hook up to your school email. It's perfect because, for example, if you have a Zoom, it'll just pop up on your calendar and you don't need to write it in. I'm guilty. I forget to write stuff in my Google Cal a lot, and I'm very fortunate that usually things work out. That is not always the case. Hook it up, use it, start to put things like your tasks and when due dates are right away. When you get that syllabus, you take that syllabus, jot it down. You put that right into your planner, your calendar, your planner, whatever works for you. You got to figure out some sort of system. If it doesn't work initially, you know, that's fine. Change it up. Just find some sort of a system where you have all your due dates, all of your meetings, your tasks in one or multiple places. You're not going to remember it just off of memory. You're not. You are a full-ass adult. So get your seat together. This chai is so good. Trader Joe's chai, 10 out of 10. Tip number 4 is that every class is different. That means you have to study different. And that is something that high school doesn't necessarily teach you. College exams and papers, not the same. Every professor is gonna expect something different of you. And it's really frustrating, but you kind of just have to adjust your habits according to the guidelines or the desires of the professor. That is how the real world works. You don't always get to be like, oh, well, you know, I'm just good at this, so I'm just gonna keep doing it and they're gonna like it. Because no, they're not. They're asking something of you and they want you to do it according to their standards. The same goes for studying. All tests are gonna be different. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of high school exams are just making sure that you understand the bare minimum, the terminology. That is not what college is like. You're gonna get a mix. You're gonna get a mix. Something that is really helpful is just understanding the concepts and then what terms under that concept, how those terms are related and how does it relate to the main idea. And they might just ask you trick questions about a random topic. You have to be prepared for both. And I've learned that the first test usually never goes well, so do not anticipate you're gonna do amazing on the first test. That first test is a trial. If your professor is asking very specific questions out of the textbook, you're like, oh shoot, like that's weird. I remember kind of seeing something about that one company in this textbook, but I didn't really read into it. Well, next time you're gonna know to look deeper into those examples. You just gotta live and you learn and you just adapt. You gotta be adaptable. You know, you're not gonna study the same for your math test and your literature quiz. Like, it's not the same. Number 5 is one of the best pieces of advice relating to academics that I've heard in my time in college, and that is that paying attention matters more than getting the notes down. I am someone who just likes order. I enjoyed taking notes in high school. You know, they really go through the content slow in high school, to be honest. That is not the way that professors do things. They are going to move very quickly. Sometimes they move very slowly, or on their slides, they might have 3 words and that's it. Not explained at all, but they're gonna talk about it perhaps, delve into it a little more. So what they say is more important to understand than necessarily what the slides have. And a lot of the time, professors have the slides on the site. So you're gonna be able to access that later, but you're not gonna necessarily be able to access what they said in class unless they have a Zoom. You know, now things are different, but just remember that what they're saying, they're emphasizing the important points. If you're not paying attention because you're writing down the notes, you're gonna miss it. And for that test question, you're gonna be like, oh, shoot, we never talked about that, when you really did. As I've gone through my college career, honestly, it has become increasingly difficult for me to stay engaged in class. unless the professor is extremely engaging, and there are some of those that are just amazing lecturers, like pop off. But a lot of professors aren't necessarily there to teach. They're not there necessarily to make sure you understand the information. I have had some professors that are clearly here just to do research. And they're just trying to get the job done with the content and whatever. So, understanding the concepts, you just gotta do it. You just gotta really take the time to understand what's going on. Put away your phone. That has been a big tip of mine is, sometimes your phone starts going off in class. If it's on silent, but it's still going off, it's distracting. So sit somewhere with a good advantage point and put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Because you can still have your phone there and check it occasionally if there's a lull. Because, I'm moderately obsessed with my phone as well. So I really get you if this is you. But just put your phone on Do Not Disturb, and all those meaningless notifications, the ones that do not matter at that time, you won't get the buzz, and it immediately pulls you. It immediately pulls you from the lecture, and you're just gonna constantly be fighting to pay attention. And eventually your phone is gonna win. iPhones now have this really cool feature where you can have different types of settings for Do Not Disturb. So there's like personal, just regular Do Not Disturb, the driving. And it's really cool how you can have a setting and set it for a certain amount of time. Like, oh, don't bother me for an hour, and then your phone will turn off Do Not Disturb automatically. Or when you leave a location, take advantage of these resources, because paying attention in class and just retaining the information as it's being given to you, it's just such an asset. And off of that, when you're doing your readings, read to comprehend and not to write your notes. Soak in the information. I always forget that when I'm just trying to write down terms and everything like that, but sometimes I just have to sit there and be like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna read this because my brain just won't let me do both right now. And that's fine. You just have to check yourself. Check yourself. I'm in such a weird mood. Okay, so moving on to our sixth and final tip, build relationships. College provides you such an opportunity to be with amazing people at one time. So build relationships with the people in your class and build relationships with your professor, because not only is it gonna benefit you in the current, but also in the future. You never know if you're gonna encounter that person again in the real world. I heard this so much coming here. Build relationships with your professors. I've had so many professors in my time here, and I've built relationships with a few of them. Because you know what? It's kind of draining to build relationships with each and every one, but it is kind of important that each of them knows your face and your name. In big classes, it's really difficult. Not necessarily on the first day do you have to go up and introduce yourself, but maybe send them an email. Reach out to them at least a few times in the semester so that they know who you are, because if you ever need something from them, they're gonna be more willing to give you that extra inch on the rope. If you've never talked to them before, never established that relationship, they're not gonna wanna help you in the same capacity as they would if you knew each other. And just keep that in mind. I know it's really, really sometimes emotionally and mentally draining to have to do that and take that step, but in the end, I feel like it's usually worth it. That's just me. Okay guys, that is all I have for you today. If you have any tips or ideas regarding this topic, put it below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.